I thought that what we would do is, would that be interesting to you to learn a little bit about what's going on inside? Yes? I might share with you a little about what I'm doing as I do some of this reading. So for the very first thing, so first of all, we're going to do some reading. We're going to do some reading, and we're going to look inside, and I'm going to share with you what I'm seeing on the outside. That's an indication of things going on inside the body, as far as health is concerned. Would that be good?
Yes.
Okay. Something else that I'd love to do, if you're interested, is to share with you a little bit also movements and things that's happening on the outside, and behavioural things that's going on inside. Would you like to know this?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to cover a little about health, and we're going to cover a little about behaviour. And mostly what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at the things that's on the outside of the body and reading these things that's happening on the outside of the body. So everybody in the right room? Okay. So it's very amazing actually that most physicians that you ever would go to, I've seen them do all kinds of things. You know, they put a thermometer here, and they've put a cuff on, you know, and they've looked at urine and things. But it's not that common that you actually see somebody and they're just sort of like, well, let's see, you know. And they really are looking at you, sensing your gait, sensing your physical appearance, sensing the amount of energy that you have, more or less. And then all kinds of other things that can really be more to do maybe with your health than someone looking at your urine and figuring out what's going on in your urine. It makes sense that we would move more toward sensing things more overall and getting the big picture. So one of the very first things that I do is I'll take your hands and I feel your hands, and I can feel a lot what's going on. So why don't I just go right round the room right now, and I'll feel everybody's hands, and I just will share something with you. But because I'd like to make sure that I can get round everybody and that we really make this exciting, and we really get to the very bottom of some things, and that we learn, and you can take home some things today that really can help you where you are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come around. I'm not going to be able to share everything that I could just by picking up your hands and feeling your hands. But I'll tell you what I can do. We straight away will look, we'll sense immediately, do you have an inflammation in the body? More than likely, most of us have some degree of inflammation. I can share with you what kind of degree of inflammation that we have, because most of us, if you've been eating dead food, you've been eating starch, you've been eating flesh, you've been eating over acid sort of food and things, for the most part there is some condition that you have going on, and then more than likely there is some inflammation. So I can feel your hands, I can tell you instantly if there's an inflammation occurring in your body, more or less where that is in your body. I can tell how much moisture that you have in your connective tissue and how much moisture that you have between your cells. So that tells me a lot. That tells me how much transportation vehicles that you have in your body for transporting nutrients right throughout your whole body. Like how much carrying agents do you have to transport water through your connective tissue? It doesn't matter how much you drink, you may less than have remained hydrated, and we may less than really be hydrating our body because we're drinking water. That water, the more you drink, perhaps the drier perhaps that you've been becoming. So let's get to the bottom of these few questions. You know, do I have inflammation in the body? What is the cause of this inflammation? And do I have enough moisture in my body? And what is the cause of this? So first of all, I'm just going to quickly go around. I'm just going to quickly feel your hands. I'm just going to share with you some things. Okay, now we have just a very small amount of adrenal exhaustion. We're going to talk about this. And we have a tiny little inflammation also, but mostly we have adrenal exhaustion. So you all remember what I say to you, and then we're going to talk about this. How far can I go with my cord? I can go a bit, can I?
Can you explain the word?
Inflammation. Okay, yes. Okay, we'll do that. Now, have the inflammation in the body. It's mild, but we do, and it's mostly gallbladder and liver. Pancreas, and we also have the intestinal tract and gallbladder and liver as well. And it's about like severe is 100%. You're about 40-something%. So percent toward really getting to a place where it really is compromising things. But it is compromising things already because that's causing a dryness of the skin itself.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we have inflammation in the body, and we have mostly the inflammation over the bile bladder. Bile bladder, which is the liver, and we have mold and fungus and yeast in the lower intestinal tract. Okay, so you remember these things, and we're going to talk about this in a second. Major inflammation. What's your name? Alan. Alan, major inflammation.
What does major mean?
Okay, what is inflammation? We can relax our hands just 1 second. Inflammation. Inflammation is where mast cells in the connective tissue of the body have lost their fluid, and it causes a heat to come to bear. It packs the area a little bit, and this is part of the body's ability to try to clear this up. It creates a fermentation, a controlled fermentation. That's what an inflammation is in a way. It really is a mobilization of the lymph system, an opening up of the lymph system, a traveling of more blood to get to the area and things to help clear and cleanse. We have inflammatory proteins present in the plasma. Now, we have a major inflammation here.
What does major mean?
Major meaning it really is compromising health, and unless we correct this, that if another physician was to sense this, they probably would have said, "Oh my God, I feel like you would need to actually go to hospital to get this cleared up." But I certainly will put you on nature's operating table to heal this up, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's just have I'll just go around, and I might not be able to give everybody as much because we'll get round everybody. We do have inflammation in the body, right? But if I do feel something else that's interesting,
What part of the body?
we have a little false heat, right, from congestion in the intestinal tract. Let me just feel here. Mostly we have some false heat, but have inflammation directly up in underneath in here. Let me have a quick look at the face for 1 second. And we do have something down here on this side too. But we might come back and actually we're going to do a little bit of physiognomy, which is just looking at the face. Inflammation in the body.
Where?
And false heat. Inflammation's up in under here. For the most part, if I say you have inflammation, for the most part, you are going to have an inflammation in here. Okay? And it's quite possible. Who feels that they feel maybe they're okay in this region? Okay, oh, wonderful. Okay, so we may feel that we are okay, and to some degree, yeah, we may be okay, actually. But can I get down there? Is that okay for me to travel there? Who puts your hand up? Did you say that your tummy is okay? That your mid-region is okay? Let me just have a quick feel of your hands. Okay, oh, no, it is not. Come stand up here 1 second. Now, I'm not going to be able to do this with everybody, right? But now, there's no receptors in here much, you know? There's no sense receptors or anything much in here. But how can we tell? My God, you can tell if we do a little bit of palpation, and it's not so comfortable. There's not very many receptors there, right? But if it is uncomfortable, my God, it really is a definite indication of things. What's your name again?
Antonio.
Antonio?
Yes.
Antonio. Okay. So now I'm going to put a tiny little bit of pressure on Antonio's spleen. We can relax the tummy. Okay. Now we do have inflammation in here. That's spleen. We're a little bit congested there. And that's the pancreas. Now that is really inflamed, Antonio. And now put a little bit of pressure on the place where your tummy feeds into your small intestine. And relax the tummy, that's it. Okay, good. Yeah, oops. Okay, now I was just starting to touch it. It's full of bile stones, and we have major inflammation in the body. We have about 2,500 bile stones there. Okay, but let's nobody be alarmed about anything that we find. But it'd be wonderful to find these things, to let you know, because it's something that you can do about this. Okay, so let's just come down and just maybe do a little bit more here. Let's see. Let's have a quick feel of your hands. Okay, now a little adrenal exhaustion. Right? Mostly we have adrenal exhaustion. And we have excess water in the intestinal tract. That might be something else that we may do, and I'm going to show you what I do. Okay, inflammation in the body. And also lymphoskin, which is an aging pigment on the brain cells, and that absolutely needs to be cleared up, because otherwise it will end up a little bit Parkinsonian, Alzheimer's sort of, unless we correct this. That's where we put major inflammation in the body. What's your name again? Antonio. Major inflammation in the body. Inflammation in the body. Mostly pancreas, but spleen and liver, but mostly pancreas. Yeah, inflammation in the body. No, but we need to correct this. We need to turn these things around. Let's see, let's see. Inflammation, small inflammation in the body.
Where?
Up in underneath in here, mostly. But we can go a little bit further, but certainly we have inflammation in here, which we need to clear up. Now, we do upstream cleaning. That's so very important. I've just started at the top of the mountain with everybody here. This is this region in here. We've got to get this working. This is like turning a tap on at the very top of the intestinal tract. That tap's got to be turned on here. Most of us do have some sort of inflammation in here. Okay, now a little adrenal exhaustion. For some time you had major inflammation, but now it's not easy to have an inflammation. It's not as easy. Eventually we get to the place where we need to have an inflammation, but we're not able to. We're not really able to like we can. We should be able.
Some the other extreme.
Yes, we've got a bit of adrenal exhaustion from having had this condition for some time. So the quick fill here. Inflammation. Now you have inflammation in the body, and mostly gallbladder. Okay. All right. Some inflammation in the body. We have inflammation in the intestinal tract, gallbladder also. We have inflammation. Major inflammation in the body. Mostly on this side up under here, but also pancreas and spleen. Just relax your hand in here. Just relax. Some bilirubin in the body, but mostly you are getting it into the intestinal tract like it should be, but it's not. We don't have enough bile to be on time for things eaten, and so they can end up as gas, and it can end up repeating a little bit, and this area may not empty like it really should. So eating late at night would be very detrimental. The next day and the days after, we pay the price for that. But we can now. This should be so powerful, matter of fact, that you could eat a telegraph pole late at night and get away with it, right? You should have the feeling inside that you could easily digest a telegraph pole. You should really have a feeling like your spit could easily dissolve steel, right? And unless your digestive force is really working well, we should really, this is where to start. We need to start really with the digestive forces and harness our digestive forces so we can get the benefit of things to get to the place of being more sufficient. The more we move more towards sufficiency, the less you need. The more people move more towards light food, the less they need. People mostly generally move more to around about 600 calories a day when they move to light food, and eventually get to the place where you'll search for something to eat but you're not hungry. Search for something to eat but you're not hungry. You know, you'll go into a store and there won't be really anything in there. Okay. Can I come down a little bit further?
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. Inflammation in the body. We have major inflammation in the body. With excess water. with about 2.5 litres of water in the intestinal tract in here. Inflammation.
Do you mind playing to the camera?
Oh my God. Absolutely. Absolutely. Inflammation in the body. All right. Let's see now. For the rest of us here, if you could get somebody to feel your hands and they can tell you how much moisture, if there's moisture there. Is there moisture in your palm? Put your hand up, the rest of us here, if you've got moisture in your palm. You got moisture in your palm? Okay. If you have moisture in your palm, you have a major inflammation. Is it dry? Have somebody else feel your hands. Have somebody feel your hands for you. Is it wet or dry? Does anybody have very dry hands? Dry hands? Okay. If you have dry hands, that means you have a little bit of adrenal exhaustion. Okay? If the skin and the connective tissue is dry, it also means that albumin, which is your super transporter, is not working as well as what it can. Let's come on back and let's talk about this just for a second. Albumin is the super transporter in your body. It transports all spare it transports all nutrients in your body to your cells. Albumin is a super transporter. Whilst we have inflammation in here, any one of us that has inflammation in here, inflammatory proteins are in excess in the plasma. And albumin, which is your super transporter, can't be in the blood like it really should be. It can't be in your fluid, in your serum, like it should be. Albumin is the super transporter. It transports all nutrients. It transports all cell waste. And if we have an inflammation in the body here, like some of us do, immune proteins are in the plasma and in excess. And because there can only be 72 grams of protein in your plasma at any one period of time, it means that the super transporter has to be retired off the road if you have an inflammation going on. Does everybody understand this last bit? It should be only 72 milligrams per deciliter of protein in the blood. No, that is just what it will be here. Okay? Now, because it's like you can only have 72 trucks on the road at any one period of time. That's the meaning of it. So we only can have 72 trucks, and the vast majority of the trucks on the road should be these super transporters. But when we've got party floats on the road, because there was a carnival or something.
How do you know you have that?
How do we know you have that? If you have inflammation, you definitely have this condition. If you have dryness of the skin, you definitely have this condition. We have a condition of albumin, that's the super transporter, being retired off the road, and we have globulins, which are immune proteins, in excess. So whenever we have inflammation, we have immune proteins from that inflammation that are in the blood plasma, and they crowd the space in the blood. They compete so that the liver, which is traffic control central, has to retire off the road some super transporters to make room for these party floats. And a party float is globulins. They're immune proteins, from living in a riotous sort of way, maybe. Okay, eating things maybe a bit not quite right, and this sort of thing. So far what we've done is we felt the moisture content, wherever moisture is between the cells, right, it is evidence of inflammation. Wherever moisture is less than present in the connective tissue, it's an indication also that inflammation is present, and we have some adrenal exhaustion. So now the next thing that I'd love for us to look at, so the women are going to look at the left hand, and the males will look at the right hand. And so what I would like you to look at is to look at the relationship of where this finger finishes in relationship to this. So for the people listening to the tape, that's right, because they can't see me holding my hands up. For the people listening to this tape, so for both men and women, you're going to be looking at your index finger, and you're going to be looking at where the nail of your index finger finishes in relationship to your ring finger. So this is going to tell us how much water you have in your body, how much air you have, and this sort of thing. So again, I'll go over this again. What I'm going to look at, and I'll come around and I'll look at a few people's hands. Women are going to, females will be looking at their left hand, males will be looking at their right hand, and you lay your hand out in front, and you look to see where the nail of your index finger finishes in relationship to the nail of the ring finger. It should finish right at the very beginning of the ring finger nail. So when you look at my hand right now, that nail, right, the index fingernail, and because I'm now looking at the right hand, otherwise female look at the left hand, where this fingernail finishes on my index finger, where this finishes on my ring finger, the nail should be at the very base of the ring fingernail. You should run across exactly, and where that index fingernail finishes, it should finish directly, exactly where this nail starts.
Why doesn't do it?
No. Now, if it doesn't, if your index finger is longer than this ring fingernail, the base of the ring fingernail, it means you've got excess water in the intestinal tract. Put up your hand if you look in your nose and you see that you have excess water in the intestinal tract. Okay, that generally is most people, but some of us might not. But let's see, if it's questionable, who's got something that's a bit questionable? Okay, can I get over there? Can we have a quick look at that? Let's see. Let's see your left hand. That's good. That's good. Just turn it over. Okay. Now, the hand is swept out that way, right? Let's have a quick look again. We have just a tiny bit, but you were born on the earth with everything intact unbelievably. You were born with a great constitution, and you've been able to get away with a lot. You've been able to get away with a lot more than what most people would have got away with. Yes, because you have a great constitution. We have a tiny bit of water in your intestinal tract, but the thing that's really we need to be working more with is electrical energy for you. Energy and electricity more, and the amplitude of electricity in your body.
Exactly the same.
Okay, so now, turn up. We want this to finish down here.
That should be here. Oh,
Okay, so
yours should
just-
be much shorter, Carol.
Carol. So I'm just looking at Carol's hand. Now that nail should finish down here, right? But it doesn't, does it? You could say that the hand has slowly rotated. The hand has been rotating. The hand has been rotating like this. And the reason why the hand has been rotating like this is because inside the body we have pressure pressing out in the abdomen here, and that causes the hand to slowly move more toward a position like this. But it is an indication that we have excess water in the intestinal tract. Carol has about 2 liters of water in the intestinal tract. Who else is questionable that we can... Okay, so now, this is... Okay, so now... Gaetano. has excess water in the intestinal tract also, but not as much as what Carol has. But we have a condition also of having excess water, not just debris, but water always in the intestinal tract. We're going to talk about this in a second, how this affects our health and what to do about it. We have excess water in the intestinal tract. Someone questionable? Come on up, let me just have a quick look. Excess water in the intestinal tract.
Okay.
It may be 2 litres in there.
Mine are equal.
Let's have a look, turn over. We have excess water in the intestinal tract as well. That now should finish down here.
I know it does.
Yeah. Okay. Now, in a health reading, I really am looking at all these things we're going to be talking about and more. But in 5 minutes, it's for the most part, it's possible for me to get a sense of what's going on inside your body. Because whatever is going on inside, there is a window to the inside of yourself, and this is the very things that's happening on the outside of your body is directly connected to things going on inside your body. So now, if you suspect that you have excess water in your intestinal tract, that always causes low amplitude of electricity. What's the meaning of this in English? Low energy, good, low energy. It means the strength of the electrical current could be better. It could be more. So if you have excess water in the intestinal tract, it means that we've got stuff there. The cells are floating, the cells are really not touching each other like they really should. We've got excess water in the body. And so the amplitude, which, is any electricians here? Amplitude is about the strength of the current. If we want to raise that amplitude in the body, and whilst we have excess water in the intestinal tract, it doesn't work. Why do we have excess water? Those of us who can have had excess water in the intestinal tract, how did it come to be? It came to be because bile, which is your fire force, is less than working like it really should. Bile, which really is the breakdown product of blood that's supposed to be stored in your bile bladder and then used according to, on a schedule more or less, of what's going on intestinally and the day, because it's a diurnal cycle, it's set where bile is released. But bile should flow. Bile helps burn up this excess water in the intestinal tract. Now, some of us could be just like a camel. We're click, where no matter where we're going, we're carrying about maybe 1-2 litres of water always around in here. And it's just like having a water bottle, and that's not helping at all. If you have excess water, you have low amplitude of electricity. We're not getting into the front of the cortex like we really should be, because you need a nice amount of electricity to get in here. If you've got excess water, it's absolute evidence also that you more than likely have a coping strategy of having been inside. Having been more inside, having been more reserved, having been more inhibited, having not had ease of ability to be able to plan and sequence things, and maybe not felt motivated to get things done. If you have excess water in the intestinal tract, it always ends up with low amplitude of electricity in the body. We can't get into the front of the cortex, into the left hemisphere, because that's the very periphery of ourself. This right hemisphere is more connected with the internal milieu. And whilst we have water, excess water, we always are operating with low amplitude. We need a high amplitude of electricity to get into this cortex. So it means mostly we can be operating more from the trunk of ourselves and not the very periphery of ourselves. So now, just by taking a person's hands, we can tell enormous amounts. I can feel a lot of stuff going on inside you, your heartbeat, just everything about you, we can feel. And we are our skin. If someone was to recognize us, who we really are, when we've surveyed people, they say it's the person's skin. That's who the person really is. Our skin is really us. So as we improve our overall health, our skin improves, and our skin can be the one thing that can have really been compromised. One of our Phoenix physicians and someone who worked with me for quite some time, Raven, and she doesn't mind me saying that she really was very sick before she came. She had, and then she really was doing drugs and really doing things which was less than excellent for her, and she really had lost her health incredibly. You should have seen her skin because you would never know she's the same person today. Her skin was an absolute mess. But if you saw her today, you would see that her skin is like porcelain. Her whole self, she has changed around enormously, and it's taken 7 years, but she probably is 20 or 30 years younger than she was when she started. So something we could do straight away right now is we could just get a feel of your nails. Are your nails really strong? Are they dry? Are they brittle? Are they easily bendable? Do they have ridges in the nails? Is there any black on the nail at all? So first of all, when you press in your nails, right, put up your hand if you feel like they bend fairly easy. Okay. Those of us who feel like we have nails that are bending relatively easy, that is an indication that we have some sort of osteoporosis, little holes in the bones. If your nail, as one's nails are strong, it's an absolute indication your upper tummy's working great, your alkaline. What causes osteoporosis? A robbing of calcium from the bones. What causes the robbing of calcium from the bones? All acid foods. We do great with turning osteoporosis around and bringing calcium back into people's bones. That's such an easy thing for us to do. If your bones are less than strong, my God, there's no excuse. We can turn this around like this. You bring a little progesterone in, perhaps. Maybe bring in a little silica, because silica is transmutated into calcium to help strengthen the bones, and a little boron maybe. But you absolutely need to get the liver working again.
Is this ridges that you're talking about?
Okay, that's ridges. Now, who has ridges? Okay, now most of us may have ridges. You reach a place where, now ridges are an indication that minerals are not being absorbed properly. What can cause this? Mostly again, underactivity of the liver, underactivity of the pancreas, possibly underactivity of the upper stomach. So ridges in the nails running long ways is an indication of mineral absorption, less than occurring as well as what it can. Who has a little bit of a bumpy pattern running up and down sort of the nail? Anyone? Okay, those up and down patterns a little bit is the indication that we may need a little bit more zinc and B6. And that something that we're doing is robbing zinc and B6, which could be starch. Starch and mold and fungus and yeast could be robbing zinc and B6 and causing the nail to have more of an undulated sort of a waviness rather than a nice sort of straight, smooth, curved surface. If the nails are brittle or dry, that's an indication again that albumin is less than present as well as what it can be. Who has a little black on the nails, like black running on the nails, or sort of darker colour running on the nails? Okay, those of us who have a little bit of that, that's an indication of mould in the body, and it's possible that we do have mycelial threads in the body that we need to clear this up. Mycelial, just like yeast, mould, fungus yeast. How do we clear this up? Okay, we're going to be talking about this. But But modern fungus and yeast is the chief undertaker. So no matter what, it is dealing with modern fungus and yeast, the things we do. I recommend generally that people would draw away the bile stones and do a 14-day live food nutritional fast. For many years I've looked at so many programs and developed this program. It's eclectic. I think it's amongst the finest programs of its kind on the earth. Now if you're pregnant, it's possible to do this program. If you're of old age, it's possible to do this program. If you're diabetic, it's possible to do this program. Now, most cleansers don't say that. They don't make a claim that if you're diabetic you should do this. If you're pregnant you should do this. This is designed for people who need to heal their body, and it's designed for everyone. We absolutely got to do those bile stones to actually reduce.
What stones?
Bile stones. Bile or gall means the same thing. One's Greek and one's Italian, that's all. Okay, bile and gall. Bile, does anybody know what bile is? What is bile? Yes, it is the breakdown material of the pigment of blood and things, right? It's the breakdown material of blood. That's what bile is. The liver is the chief organ of detoxification, breaking things down, and it reduces all of that debris into a substance called bile. Bile helps create peristaltic activity. That's the rhythmic movement of the intestinal tract. Bile also helps you get use out of and the benefit of carbohydrates and fats, the emulsification of fats. Plus, bile neutralizes the acid churn from the stomach. Most of us can have an inflammation because that's not occurring properly. In other words, acid is passing into this area in here, right, and it's not really being neutralized by bicarbonate soda that would come from your liver, and bicarbonate soda would come from your pancreas, and then it's ending up in an acid state in this mid-region in here, and that can be causing major discomfort, and that can be causing a drying of the body to have occurred. So far, how are we doing? Good? Is this interesting? Yes? Okay. So now, I look at the nails. I don't need some fancy piece of equipment to tell you, and no one really does. If you've learned this, what I've just shared with you today, no need necessarily to go and find out what's going on. You can just check and see immediately. Somebody has a little osteoporosis, then their nails are going to be a little bit flexible, and your nails should be nice and strong, really. And there is no excuse. Nails should be nice and strong. You should keep all the calcium in your bones all the way through your life. There is no excuse. That is very important. Did you know that the number one major challenge for women once they reach the age of 75 is what? Yes, and what is one of the major things in the nursing homes and things? That's right. Now, let everyone here make sure you keep the calcium in your bones. There is no excuse. If you less have kept the calcium in your bones, you know immediately right now, and you need to turn things around. You may need to do a 14-day live food nutritional fast. We may need to bring in a little bit more supplement, like perhaps some silica, which is biologically transmutating the calcium, like a silica from horsetail. They're important. You know, when somebody has really shiny hair, you know, you have shiny nails, you have a nice luster or sheen that comes from you. What is that? Yeah, it's silica. That's silica. We've got some educated people here. That's silica. Silica is very shiny. It's a very bright brightness. The brightness and the shininess that you see in somebody's hair, the luster that you see in somebody's skin, the shininess of it that you see in somebody's nails, this is silica. So when you look at a plant, how do you know there's silica in it? The very shininess. That shininess that's on the outside of a flaxseed, what is that?
Silica.
That is silica. Did you know that silica is not in the modern diet? You have to move more towards live food, which is your ancient diet, to get your silica. Otherwise, possibly you may need a supplement. What foods? Radish. But everything that has a shiny seed predominantly. Seeds like millet, amaranth, quinoa, flaxseed. Flaxseed probably has more silica in that than anything else. Horsetail, which is called scrub brush, which the Indians used to clean things up with, which would grow just, in shallow water, sort of, in drains and stuff. That's called horsetail. There's an aqueous extract of organic silica made from horsetail that Flora puts out, and that is wonderful. Flora is a company. Fluorescence, they put fluorescence out. Flora is a company from Washington. But that is so very important that you would consider silica. Silica is the beauty vitamin. If you let them have a nice luster, if you let them have a nice shininess to your hair, unless you have a nice flexibility, unless the nails are reasonably not brittle, then there's absolute evidence that silica can be very helpful for you. If you sit in front of a VDT screen for work, then silica is very important because silica guards against radiation. If the air that you've consumed is less than excellent, silica is very important for chelating toxic and tars and resins out of the lungs and things. Like silica can chelate and remove tars from having less than done the right thing, maybe. So silica is very important.
Yeah, I was eating an alkaline diet with raw foods a lot with Dr. Robert Young's program. Do you know that? But I was losing so much weight.
Okay. I would recommend people move more towards live food, because lots of raw food, like the carrot and the beet on Robert Young's program, is not life force and has no life force in it. That's a food which will end up as sugar in the blood. So even though that may be raw, has no life force. Lots of things on his program have no life force at all. But Robert is good with some insight as far as microscopy is concerned, but maybe scaring people a bit much from just avoiding all ferments, which that's not right either.
What is live food? Sprouts?
Live food is no. Now a sprout could be if it's a food that a semblance of this food can be found growing wild in nature. Can you find it growing wild in nature? No. Can you find corn growing wild in nature? No. Can you find legumes growing wild in nature anywhere? No. The closest thing to a bean that grows in nature is something looks like it is a mung bean and a zuki are closest, but most all legumes are hybridized and you can't find them growing in nature.
So
What happens if I have a food that cannot be found growing wild anywhere on the earth, and I have a bushel of that seed and I sprinkle it on the riverbank? I come back in a year's time and I notice that not a blade of it survived. Not a blade of it survived. Why? And doesn't that make you suspicious? If something won't grow in nature, doesn't that not make you suspicious? Yes, you should. What? Because it is one step away from a mold and a fungus and a yeast. And that's the reason why it won't grow in nature. It does not have the forces to keep mold and fungus and yeast at bay. Matter of fact, when you consume those foods are fully colonized with mold and fungus and yeast. A carrot, yes, a carrot is fully colonized. Wheat is fully colonized, even wheatgrass. Yes, corn is fully colonized. There are 26 pathogens which cause cancer from corn alone. All things stored in bins and silos are colonized by mold and fungus and yeast. Life foods are all foods which an semblance of this food can still be found growing wild in nature. It happens to be everything other than the starchy fruits and vegetables. Starchy fruits and vegetables have been slowly selected for their sugar quality, and they've developed a sucrose and no longer a monosaccharide, but it's a disaccharide. It's a sugar which is stuck together electrically, can't be broken apart much by the body. They wreak havoc in the body. Potato wreaks havoc in the body. Banana wreaks havoc in the body. If you've done banana, if you did bread today, you've kissed goodbye any cell rejuvenation. There can be no cell rejuvenation after eating rice. There can be no cell rejuvenation after eating anything made from wheat. There can be no cell rejuvenation after having eaten corn. For 24 hours, you kiss goodbye any cell rejuvenation, and you only can age for that 24 hours.
What about the
Okay, sprouted wheat, same thing. The glycans, which is a sugar that is in that sprouted wheat, the body senses that it is going to get this delivered, but it never transfers into real-time energy. That wheat sprout, because it will acidify the body, rob the electrons from the body, and sprouts are great, but not wheat. Wheat won't grow in nature. Clover will though, but alfalfa, most of alfalfa is hybridized. The seeds are hybridized. But clover isn't. Clover is closer to the real thing. You can sprout clover and that's fine. Okay. Yes, no. Banana has extremely poor amounts of potassium in it. That is untrue. That is. First of all, there is some potassium underneath the skin. If you scrape that skin, well, you'll get a bit of potassium from that. But there is a little potassium in banana, but there's so many foods that have potassium in it, and banana is not one. All fresh foods have potassium. All cooked food doesn't. Even though it might have the mineral potassium there, it's in a form that can't be used if it's cooked. It has to be living. It has to have that spare electron with it. Potassium has 19 electrons. There's one odd electron, which it means it's an unstable element. Any cooking, and it causes that element to be unstable. You need potassium to have a good cell cleansing benefit. Cooked food robs potassium from the body. So what kinds of things have potassium in it? The greatest source of potassium on the earth is sea vegetables. It's into the thousands of range of potassium, which a banana is only like 120.
Like kelp, seaweed?
Dulse, kelp, Irish moss, absolutely marvellous. If you've got heavy metals, you want a chelation and things, Irish moss is very amazing. Okay, so let's get back to the readings. Is this interesting?
White coating on the tongue.
Okay, a white coating on the tongue. White coating on the tongue is indication of yeast. Mold and fungus and yeast are in the body, and it's generally an indication of congestion in the intestinal tract. So now, if you don't have a white tongue right now, if you start to cleanse, it's quite possible after the third day it could be really coated, and you could really smell less than fragrant and floral. You might really have something going there, incredible. Why is it that if you just stop eating, it's possible the tongue to get coated? What happens when you stop eating? Yeah. So when you have slept through the night and you wake in the morning, if you've fed a little bit of eye jam, you know, that little jam that gets in your corner of your eyes, that's evidence that you need to cleanse and that you did have a fast whilst you slept and you cleansed whilst you fasted. So the body can give out more when it rests. So we absolutely have to rest. You should be getting rest. That's so very important. It's only when the cells finally are at rest can rejuvenation occur. Many of us may be in a state of excitement because of high blood sugar or low blood sugar or a state of less than sufficiency, and that can always have turned the cells to be on more and not resting. Okay. Oh, okay. So now we should be resting right now. The tummy should be relaxed. The shoulders should be relaxed. The breast should be relaxed. The heart should be relaxed. The legs and the hands should be relaxed. Between your heart beat is when your heart's resting. So now we can always be resting. Resting is part of longevity. If you want to live for a long time, then part of a condition of this is the conservation of ourself. How much rest do we need? Now, as we get older, the older that we become generally, the less and less we're able to sleep. That is a general pattern. Once we get to a certain age, we no longer can lay in bed like we might have been able to do when we were younger. And the earlier we start to get up, because we can't really lay there. Because as we lay there, things have become still and material traveled between the cells and got into the back and the other areas and things like this. And the older that we get, the more we're able to get up and start sort of moving around a little bit, and we're sort of a bit better for movement and a bit better for being warmed up a bit. But we should be recovered. So it's a way to tell. I should be recovered. But rest can also be only 20 minutes at a time with the VDT screen, visual display terminal, because that is affect the eyes. Even a liquid crystal display, you only have so much energy, so you should rest a little bit before you come back to things, and then things work much better. Emotionally, I should be resting. That's so very important to have a long life. All long-lived people, which that's what the lecture is about on Thursday. It's little known commonalities of the longest-lived people. That's what we're talking about on Wednesday at 137 Green Street. From 8 to 10. That is an absolutely fabulous lecture. It's all about longevity. 137 Green Street, Soho. No, at night. Yeah.
What time?
From 8 o'clock onward. You should get there a little bit earlier.
And what is the charge
It's $20. It's $20, and everyone is welcome, no matter what. Okay? So, if someone didn't have any money at all, I still would welcome you to come.
Do you know what train is here? I don't know where Green Street is.
Green Street, you could take the F to 2nd Avenue and get off at 2nd Avenue there, which is close to Houston. Or the Broadway Lafayette train, that's the 6, isn't it? Oh, the F train and the 6. Okay, it's Broadway and Lafayette.
That's also a D.
Yes. Broadway and Lafayette is the closest subway, isn't it, mate? Oh, Broadway and Prince. Oh, the N and the R also.
Okay.
You get off at Broadway, Houston, around Houston there, and then walk. No, that's Thursday, the 26th, Thursday, the 26th. I'm just changing things over, so I do have a number at the moment, but it's not really being manned. But let's see. Eric, do we have a number that we're giving out to the number of people to get information?
No, we're trying to put some information on whitefood.com.
If you go to lifefood.com, it's possible to go to scheduled events and see what's up there. Lifefood, L-I-F-E, food.com, and to get some more information. If you thought you would enjoy getting that information off the website, that's incredible also, and that's for food.
What the light foods are on your website?
On everything except for the starchy foods. Let me just go over what the starchy foods are, because then everything else is fine. Starchy foods. Banana is not live food. Carrot is not live food. Dates. Now these things I'm talking about right now, they end up as sugar in your blood, and they block human growth hormone. They raise somatostatin, which blocks human growth hormone, which causes people less than needed to have a proper cell rejuvenation.
Did you get that? How do you spell it?
Which one?
The last word you said. Oh, dates.
Dates.
Okay.
What was the other one you said, banana?
Banana, carrot, date,
What else?
beet, corn, beet, yeah, corn, wheat, rice, potatoes, oats. Yes, it is. That's got a high glycemic rate. But one of the things about the oats has got a bit more, it's got a lot of silica in it, but it won't go in nature, and it will create hypoglycemia, it will cause bile and it will block any human growth hormone from having its effect.
What's what?
Bran. Now, bran is not really, but if we could get bran from something that would grow in nature, I would prefer to get the bran from this. But there's such an industry in wheat that most of your bran is coming from sources that is not really natural source. But bran can be okay, as long as it's fresh.
Millet and quinoa?
Millet and quinoa and amaranth are three ancient seeds. They're not really grains. They're seeds. Seeds are fine. All seeds are fine. Spelt, no. Spelt, no. Canute, no. Quinoa, yes.
Tofu.
Canute, no. No, canute has a high glycemic rate, and even though it's a little better than wheat, it's a lesser evil, but, you know. Millet, quinoa, and amaranth. Sesame seed, flax seed, pumpkin seed, wonderful. Grinding them down, introducing them into things. Manitoban grass seed, that's one of the most delicious. Who's heard of quintessence in town here? Oh my God. One person, two people? You should go and eat a quintessence. That's on 10th Street. They're the very first live food restaurant in New York City here. On 10th Street, across from the Russian Bar, between Avenue A and First Avenue, close to Avenue A, on 10th Street, on the north side of 10th Street, across from the Russian Bar. It's called Quintessence. It's the very first live food restaurant in town here. If you're diabetic, you know somebody diabetic, they can eat there. My God, it's delicious food. It's all live food. Okay. Spelt? No. Whilst it's okay in the gluten department, it's better than wheat, it's still got a high glycemic rate and this sort of thing. Huh? Flaxseed, fine. All soy, out. Most of it out. Absolutely. It's very detrimental. Very detrimental. Not just a little bit, that is poisonous. That is poisonous. That is misleading information that people who grow soy have foisted on the public to sell their product. Soy isolate, extremely detrimental. That is an excitotoxin that kills brain cells. That excitotoxin. Any soy isolate or soy protein isolate is excitotoxic. That opens up the calcium channels in the neurons and causes cells to be excited to death. Very bad. Plus, there's so many things about soy which is less than excellent. But one other thing I just was sharing with you, no matter how much they cook that soy, and they really do cook it, they have to raise it to such an enormous temperature to try to get rid of the enzyme inhibitors. But they're unable to. Between 5 and 10% of the enzyme inhibitors still remain in that product, and that blocks protein synthesis. Those studies that show ginseng is useful, those studies are misleading. They are very misleading.
What's your opinion in between soy and wheat? Which one is worse?
Okay, so now I can answer this from a spiritual question. From a health question, soy is worse. Soy is far worse. From a spiritual question, flesh is far worse. So I would have the soy. What? I would have the soy because I care about the earth. And then flesh eating is definitely out. But soy is very detrimental. Almond milk? Wonderful. Get a nice cloth bag, a sprout bag. Blend your almonds up in your nuts. Pour that through into your cloth bag and squeeze it out so you just have the milk that remains. Bring a little bit of salt to that so it tastes like milk. Salt it first. Has to be a sun-dried salt. So actually, why don't I just do another quick reading and I'll just check and feel your pulses and get a sense of things that's happening. And I'll just tell you how much blood volume you have and some other things. Fish, bad news. Okay, let's quiet for just 1 second. Carol. Now I just felt Carol, right? I don't know whether I'm going to be able to go around for everyone, but I just felt Carol, and I could feel, right, that Carol has some blood flow here. She has a modest blood flow here, but then the further you go down to the pelvic area, blood flow is modest. And that's the most serious compromised situation we have. And unless we correct this, these organs and things down here, they need to be vamped. And it's more than likely, I just felt the blood flow, it's quite possible that we have such less than excellent blood flow down here, there could be a little bit of dysplasic sort of cells and things. But I would not be concerned about any of that. I would turn this around. And I would pick up the blood flow to the pelvic area again, clear away the bile stones, get back your peristaltic activities. You can do, breath of fire and things to help pick up the blood flow. But mostly, breath of fire, it's really kind of a movement. It's not really a breath. I'm taking my stomach in as I'm breathing out through my nose. That sort of an exercise can help increase the blood flow. Other things that can help increase blood flow is getting rid of the bile stones and reducing the waste. Because we have some debris in here that's causing blood flow to be like it should. Now this happens to be the very periphery of self as well. This happens to be very periphery too. There can be mold and fungus and yeast internally in here that excretes mycotoxins, and those mycotoxins target peripheral organs of ourselves and cause blood vessels and less them to remain nice and dilated and open like they should. And so that can be affecting the pelvic area as well. But now we have, and then another thing Carol has is sometimes she lessens keeping proper blood volume in her blood. And so for fasting, if Carol was interested to do a cleanse, I would recommend that she needs to salt things a little bit in the beginning of her program. With sun-dried salt, has to be living, and that she salts things in the beginning of her program, and that's very important to make sure she has proper blood volume. Otherwise, we could do a local nutritional fast and we could feel a little faint. Yes, blood volume is very important. Yes, it does. Minerals in the blood help allow the blood volume to fill out more. When we don't have proper salinity of the blood, the kidneys clear away the water, so you don't have much water, and then the heart may not be beating like it really should. Yes, that's what I'm feeling with Carol. I'm feeling that it's not feeling as well as what it can, and that we have low amount of water in the blood, and we could have more energy actually if we correct this condition. Let's just have a quick feel. Okay, so now, what's your name? Nellie. Nellie mostly has a condition where she has less than excellent blood flow here. She has a bit more blood flow over here, and so it's an absolute indication, Nellie, that we have bile stones. And if you would clear away those bile stones, your whole health would improve enormously. People that I know, Raven, who worked with me in the city here for many years, she fasted, and you know, she did this on a regular basis. And then she let it go, and she didn't really do any fasting for about 2 or 3 years, you know. And she had improved her health incredibly, but she never really just sort of plateaued like she could, you know. And then one day she came to me, she said, you know, she said, my health is really good, but she said, oh, you know, I haven't just really plateaued like I really can, you know. Is there something up? And I checked, and I said, well, you still have bile stones. She said, how could that be? She said, I've done so many fasts, I can't believe it, you know. This was at training in Oklahoma last year. Anyway, she felt so mad at me, you know. She said, I'll show him. She said, I've done this so many times. That night, she whacked back some olive oil and did some lemon. The next morning, we were doing yoga out on the deck at the training, and we hear some screaming coming from the bathhouse, and it's Raven running down the track. She has a jar, and she has such enormous stones, right? And she's screaming, I can see, I can see. Now, she's had glasses since she was 5. She doesn't have to wear glasses anymore, right? We always said, when she would finally get rid of her bile stones, I always said to her, you know what, when you get rid of those bile stones, you're going to throw those glasses away because you won't need them. If you have glasses, it's just simply because you need a bit more gas in the tank, that's all. That's all. You need electricity, that's all. That is all.
Olive oil is good then. Olive oil.
Olive oil, yes it is.
Is Celtic salt good to you?
Celtic sun-dried salt is very good.
What if you have high blood pressure? Can you
Yes, very, very helpful for high blood pressure. If you have sun-dried salt, that can be very helpful for high blood pressure. But cooked salt, extremely detrimental. You can call 212-505-5504, and you can get salt from Christopher. Who knows Christopher? Christopher's the floor captain here that works for Mark Becker. But Christopher works with me, and he's worked with me for nearly 14 years. I've trained Christopher for years, and he is absolutely incredible. Christopher can help with things, and it's possible for you to get product and stuff and things like that. Yes. 505-5504, 212. Okay.
Organic nuts too?
He has a lot of things. He has quite a few things there and that. Okay. But sun-dried salt, yes. Sun-dried salt.
What goes in your detox program?
Okay. What is the upstream cleaning? Upstream cleaning really is clearing away the bile stones. We have a major focus cleaning away these bile stones. These bile stones have to be cleared away for the tap to be turned on here, for peristaltic activity to occur, for digestion to occur properly. Now, most other programs have no idea about it. Most every single person who comes to me from Hippocrates, from Lemon Grove, from the Ann Widmore Institute, every single one of those people still have their bile stones.
Because I fasted for 14 days and it didn't get rid of my high blood pressure.
No, okay. So you did the gallbladder flush and things?
They gave me stuff that I was...
Okay, look. We have so many people who had the high blood pressure and are fine today. I can easily share with you why do you have high blood pressure, and what's a true healing therapeutic would be changing your ways that's caused the high blood pressure, which mostly is starch.
Do you live in the...
But I eat a lot of rice.
I know, see, that's starch. That's one of the major reasons. Why is starch a major cause of high blood pressure? Starch is a major cause of high blood pressure because it robs B6, B12, folic acid, and magnesium from the body. Now, these 4 elements are needed to convert a common amino acid that's in the food that you're eating called methionine. It's a very common amino acid in food you're eating. To convert methionine past its corrosive form as homocysteine. So when methionine gets broken down, it gets broken down to homocysteine. Now you've really got to get rid of homocysteine, because otherwise homocysteine is going to cause arteriosclerotic plaque to be laid down in the arteries. It's going to cause fat to penetrate the artery wall. So indirectly you could say starch, which robbed B6, B12, folic acid and magnesium from the body, caused me less than to have the ability to convert methionine past its corrosive form as homocysteine, and that homocysteine caused high blood pressure. So that's one of the major reasons for high blood pressure. And indirectly, you could say starch is the major cause of this. One of the major causes.
Genes, the doctor told me I can get rid of
No, that is untrue. Most doctors have never studied nutrition, so they're not qualified to say it's in the genes.
You mentioned, I only got three things. You said it robbed the B12, magnesium, and folic acid.
And magnesium.
Oh, mag.
And magnesium.
If I had magnesium,
B6, B12, folic acid, and magnesium.
just the three.
4. B6, B12, folic acid, and magnesium.
One I missed.
What do you do to get rid of the bile stone?
Okay, what do? We in the live food recipe book, everyone should pick up a live food recipe book. That's at the table. You've got one? Okay. Let's have a look at it here.
Booth 407.
It's booth 407. Look, this is what we have a specialty in. This is life force and the benefit of this in your body. This is what life food is about. That is nutrition. And that is called life food. This is a star food. The person who did this photography work of this electromagnetic corona had never done food ever. Had done industrial applications and all sorts of things, but had never done food. This was the first time this person had done food. This is a star food, and this has an enormous electrical pattern in it. Can everybody see? Is your eyes good enough to see the back cover? You can just see two sort of little, you can see commercially grown, organic grown. Commercial grown, organic grown. An enormous difference. There could be 600% more nutrition in something organically grown. We should move more toward the place of going without. We should move more toward the place of being empty more and being self-sufficient and not having to eat. And as you clear away these bile stones, we move more towards food which has its life force. We become more and more sufficient of ourselves until finally there could have been things you might have eaten, but you don't feel hungry for that anymore.
So you don't eat at all?
I don't eat.
So you don't need
Do you
a
drink?
stove there.
Do you drink water?
No, not very little. Very little. I drink my own urine, and that's all I've done the last few days.
Your urine?
Urine.
Urine?
My own pee. My own pee.
Why do you drink that?
Because it's a great savings of energy, and if somebody did that alone, they could live 20 more years on the earth, you know, doing everything else wrong.
Do you have to purify it? You just...
No. The more toxic you are, the more you need your urine. The less toxic you are, the less you need your urine. But if you're very toxic, you need your urine because that has the elements in it because of the condition of the body that is in the blood. And so you need those very things to come into the intestinal tract to help turn things around.
Before you start drinking that?
No, if you're not healthy, you should drink your urine because that will heal you up. And that's...
Why does the body excrete the urine if it's not
Yeah, I
good
thought
for
it's
you?
toxins.
Is this interesting for us to talk about for 2 more minutes? It is. Oh my God! Wow, that's great. Actually, I have some people in my family say, "Don't talk about urine therapy today." But but to me, I've got to tell you, there is no finer medicine, greater medicine on the earth than what is already in your blood, because urine is purified blood.
How much do we drink?
As much as you love. The better, the more the better. Now I drink every single drop. And I feel really disappointed if I have to spill any of that. But you know, that is such a wonderful thing. It'll deepen your meditative state. There's so many reasons why you should. I don't want to go into it too much here, but if you're interested to learn more about it, you can go to our website and you can get some information off the website. You can copy that paper if you like, because that's free. Right now it's free, so you can copy it and you'll really have some great information.
Get on the website. Is there any...
Livefood.com? Livefood.com. Okay, but let's see. Wait a minute. We need to answer this question.
So how do you keep from losing too much weight?
Yeah, no. You could eat and you could lose weight. You could not eat and not lose any weight. So eating really does not necessarily have anything to do with weight. Indirectly it does with fat weight. So if somebody wants to grow fat, well then you have to eat certain types of things to grow fat. Otherwise there's no way you could ever grow fat. All adipose tissue for the most part is laid on the body mostly because of starch. You cannot lose weight if you eat starch. You can lose weight if you eat fat because you have to. You have to eat fat. You have to have lipase, which is the fat splitting enzyme to break fat down. But you have to stop all things ending up as fat. And sugar, excess sugar, ends up as a fat. And excess sugar causes insulin to be present, and insulin causes us to draw things in. So you might be surprised to discover that it is possible that there may be several people here in the room who have never had any spare electrons. That's an amazing statement to make. You mean that there are some people here who may never really have brought anything in that gave them spare electrons.
Meaning what?
Meaning that the person really never brought any nutrition in yet. That the person only has brought things in which robbed nutrients from the body actually and created starvation, and even though somebody could be stuffing themselves, they could be starving at a cellular level.
Eating some junk food.
Huh?
By eating junk food.
Yes, but even if I ate good food, I might not get the benefit of it. I might not be getting the benefit of it.
What should we drink for water? Reverse osmosis, is that good?
Reverse osmosis. See, on the way to get to this place, we recommend life food, learning about life force, and moving more and more toward the place of self-sufficiency, which that naturally happens to every person I know just about. They eat less. Every single person that we've surveyed who's done life food for more than 12 years or so, every single one of those persons eats far less than they ever ate, and maybe only a quarter to a third of what they used to eat.
While we're still eating and
Yes.
drinking, what kind of water should we drink?
A water that's structured, a water that comes from a coconut is way better water than anything else because it's structured. Water from a tap, very bad. Distilled or reverse osmosis water. But distilled water, I recommend that you learn how to charge it. If you've got RO water, reverse osmosis water, also you should learn how to charge the water. There is a recipe for charging water in the Life Food Recipe book, bringing back its structure. So as we bring in things that has its structure, our structure remains.
What about energized water?
Energized water. There can be all kinds of waters, and water is not just water, but water can be energized by flowers, water can be energized by sun and crystal, water can be energized by sound, and water can be energized by color.
What about magnets?
Magnets are amazing. North negative pole. North negative pole. That's what we need, the north negative pole.
What about vegetable water?
Is that the
Coconut water? Yes, the young coconut. Oh, reverse osmosis water. Yeah, you can do it that way. You can get units that you slip underneath the sink, which as the water comes in, it goes through your reverse osmosis, and there's a little storage. So then you always have RO water. Otherwise,
What were you thinking of?
we recommend to people a little unit, which you can buy, which then you make your RO water, especially if you're doing enemas or anything like that. You can make your own RO water and then learn how to charge it.
What's adrenaline exhaustion?
Okay, adrenal exhaustion. Adrenal exhaustion, for the most part, occurs finally when the adrenals are used and used and used. Now, the adrenals are little saddles that sit above the kidneys, and epinephrine, norepinephrine, cortisol are substances which are stress hormones, okay, and they are secreted by the kidneys. those little cells, the adrenals. Adrenocorticotropic hormones and substances secreted for managing blood sugar and managing inflammation and things. If I had a condition inside which always had these little cells on, eventually become exhausted. And we have adrenal exhaustion. Other things that can cause that inflammation can eventually cause adrenal exhaustion. That's right.
What about colon cleansing? Do you recommend colon cleansing?
Some colon cleansing can be okay, but we need to clean from upstream first down. Let's go and let's do a little bit more reading. Vegetable juices can be wonderful, but juicing may not necessarily be a whole food. Blending food is a bit more of a whole food. Juicing is not. There's all sorts of properties that remain when you blend, but are perfectly discarded in juicing. Now, juicing is not a whole food. Blending is better. Lightly blending food is better.
Vitamix or the fiber?
Vitamix, yes, because more than just fiber. There's lots of properties which are lost in the juicing, which is there in the whole food. When you blend, it's more a whole food.
Is Vitamix blended, or?
That's a blended, lightly blend. Yes, it's better to blend than juice.
So Vitamix
But some juicing is okay. Vitamix is wonderful. You can use a regular blender too. Yes, you can. You can chop things down small enough to blend things up and this sort of a thing. Okay, would you like to do a little bit more reading?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes? All right. Okay, so now, I do like physiognomy, and I'll totally read your face in an instant and tell what's going on inside the body just from the way your face is. So there's so much actually that I read in 5 minutes. I can cross-check and we can really get a sense of everything that's going on inside your body. Many times people have jumped up and have gone, my God, and I've exclaimed, nobody's got to the bottom of this before ever like you have. There is no more finer calibrated piece of equipment on the earth than a human being for sensing what's inside the body and for sensing what's going on below the earth or what's underneath the tablecloth. There's no finer calibrated piece of equipment on the earth than a human being for sensing these things. So now let's just take a look at the mouth, the lips for a moment. This top lip here mostly reflexes through and always is evidence, an indication of the integrity of the upper stomach. So we can tell a lot if it's puckered, if it's dry, what shape the lip has, and the texture and things of the skin. We can tell a lot about the condition of the upper stomach. This area here, which for the people listening to the tape, is the very corners of the mouth, is an indication of the duodenum and the small intestine. The top part of the bottom lip is an indication of the small intestine and tells us a lot about the condition of the small intestine. The bottom part of the bottom lip is an indication of colon and how the colon is working. The right side, of course, is right side of the intestinal tract and abdomen. Left side of the face is indicating of the left side of the abdomen. So let me just have a quick look at it. I can look at a couple of people's lips for a second. Nellie. So now Nellie, she has sort of, like, you know, in the advertising they see these sensual sort of lips and things, and they're sort of puckered a bit. Does everybody know that?
Yeah.
Yes? And then the Rolling Stones, they came out with that big lip thing and all that sort of stuff, you know. Big lips are an indication generally of excess.
What?
Excess. Living excessively. Living high on the hog in a way, and actually consuming things which not maybe beneficial necessarily, but sort of maybe they make me feel a little better, perhaps, but they could cause me to eventually feel not quite right. But whilst I eat it, I can get a bit of a head rush. But lots of foods can fall into the category like that: rice, or starches certainly, or fried foods and things like this end up like this. So if it's puckered in any way in the places where we just talked about, is it evidence of reflexing back to that place? So if, let's say that my lip is puckered a bit more, we're puckered, okay, now Nellie's lip is puckered here, which is the bottom part of the middle of the bottom lip, and it's puckered here on this side, which is close to the middle on the left side of the bottom lip as well. So these areas are indicating the sacroiliac valve area and the sigmoid area mostly. Okay, so now the sacroiliac valve area is where the small intestine empties into the large intestine. We're distended here. We have a distension here. And I can share with you the reason why. And then we also have a distension in the sigmoid area, which is the sigmoid is a part of the colon which holds on to feces until finally they can be defecated out. So now we have distension of the sacroiliac valve area, and we have distension of the sigmoid area. What causes this? What causes the distension of the sacroiliac valve area, which the people listening to the tape is down here on the bottom right-hand quadrant of the lower pelvic area? What causes the sacroiliac valve area less than to have remained in keeping its integrity typically is eating too close to defecation is the major reason. Eating too close to after having defecated. Or some people maybe even eating before defecation, and that is wrong. We should not eat at all after we defecate, and we should allow the intestinal tract to remain empty, because that's the only time it rests. It's not resting while you have feces there. It is only resting finally when it's emptied, and then there should be no breaking your fast. All people close to the earth, all across the earth, there are no people living close to the earth that break fast.
What do you mean breaking fast? How long?
In English it's called breaking your fast.
How long after?
Oh, good, great. How long? The longer the better. People who live close to nature, they generally are only doing 2.5 to 3 hours work a day. That is all. And that's what we've evolved to do, not this 8 or 9 hour day stuff. People who live in places close to the earth, on average, they do 2.5 to 3 hours work a day. There is no breakfast. Basically, people get up in the morning and they defecate, they urinate and they defecate, and eating only starts, when the sun is past the zenith point, way past the zenith point typically. Most people close to the earth, they eat twice, and then a lot of people only eat once, like the Australian Aboriginal only eats once. We're not designed to eat all through the day, but you may need to for your energy, perhaps where you are, but that will not help. It won't help, and it won't correct the situation. So, the only time actually that the intestinal tract is resting is when? It is resting somewhat when we sleep, but not completely, because feces are there. We rest when what? When we emptied out and when we've fasted. So not breaking fast, not breaking your fast, not doing breakfast is most of the time that most people fast, generally by not having breakfast and fasting through the night when you slept. So people close to the earth, all people close to the earth, All ethnologists, anthropologists, people studying people close to the earth, generally they're only doing about 2.5, 3 hours work a day. There is nothing eaten in the morning generally, and that gives the intestinal tract time to rest. Otherwise, what happens is defecation occurs and there's not time enough to rest, and then because of that, food was not completely in the sigmoid. You had a bolus that was over here, and then after defecation occurred, 2.5 hours later, or 3 hours later, that bolus arrived, and then that sat in the sigmoid. That is the reason for distension on the left side of the bottom lip. Okay, so you'll remember this. Do what you can not to have breakfast. Be kind in general, because some people can get mad telling them this information, right? They can get mad as hell. What do you mean not breakfast?
What about just fruit?
No, absolutely not, because especially for you,
Why?
because we have a slightly underactive upper stomach. Now, if you did sweet before noon, that would guarantee gas and
What is sweet? I feel like grapefruit.
Oh, okay. Grapefruit is not too bad because there's not much sugar in that. But why do you have to have a grapefruit in the morning? Why not? Yeah, okay,
The
no.
nutritionist told me to eat grapefruit.
I know.
as I wake.
Okay, but you should not be. I should not be waking up in the morning, you know, and opening up the icebox.
Right.
That is wrong. That is wrong. I said, wait a minute. You didn't do anything. You just rested. How come you've got to tuck into this icebox straight away when you wake up?
Just green,
I know, it could be habit.
just green juice.
Not even a green juice, no. No, it's best not to do food. It's best not to do food. But if you need to do some food, do some food. Don't have any principle about anything. If you need to have something. But you'll know that you should move more toward the place of being without for breakfast. But you could have a herbal beverage which blocked insulin. That would be marvelous, because that will rejuvenate you.
What is that?
A tea which had ginkgo, gochicola, faux tea, dong quai, and a little ginseng. Did you get it?
No.
Ginkgo, gochicola. Everybody's probably heard of these herbs. Ginkgo, gochicola, wonderful herbs. Dong quai,
So we mix
faux tea. Okay, actually it's in this order. Ginkgo, in order of amount. Ginkgo, gochicola, faux tea, and dong quai. Now this is a longevity formula. It's in the book, and that's a longevity formula. There's quite a few others that you can do. There's a happy face tea, which has got lots of berries in it from nature. You know, we need to suppress insulin, because, you know, when we started out we said, if you've eaten food and it raised insulin, guess what? No cell rejuvenation. If you've looked in the mirror and you go, oh my God, I don't think I've youth lately. Could be because you've been eating starch, and there can be no cell rejuvenation. But if you look in the mirror and you go, my God, I look like I've rejuvenated. Human growth hormone has been having its effect. You've been getting some rest and some other things, which helps in growth hormone.
What about neuropathy and urine in the morning?
Oh, neuropathy? That is the only thing I would recommend in the morning. Look, when you wake up, put something fresh in there immediately. Does that make sense? Put something fresh in there. And that's not coffee or anything. Put something fresh. The freshest thing that can wet you, that can so cause you to be wet like unbelievable, is pee. Urine, there is nothing that will wet your body more than urine. You want to wet the protein of yourself? Urine is it. You want to unstick the platelets of blood? Oh, so they're all apart, flowing nicely and discreetly? Drink your urine in the morning. That's the one thing. Otherwise, you could bring in a little sun-dried salt. You could bring in a small amount of lemon and some warm water, and you could do that. And although it's not as good as urine, That's a good thing. We need to hydrate the body, unstick the platelets of blood. That's the very first thing one should do in the morning. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Can you chill it so it doesn't taste so strong?
Now the question is, could it be put on the rocks? Yes. You could put that. You could drink that. But I always recommend get the best chalice in the home. Drink out of the best chalice, like a nice crystal chalice. But actually, if it's a copper cup, it's going to be different. If it's out of wood, it'll be different. If it's out of clay, it has different effects and things.
So you keep it in the refrigerator?
I drink mine fresh because that's the most delicious, you know. But I keep some for the outside of the body because I don't use soap. I never use soap. No, I don't ever use soap.
So you bathe with the urine?
Yes,
And you smell fresh?
absolutely. You should be fragrant. You know, you should be able to taste yourself. You should say, my God, I taste sweet. Okay, up the back.
Can you tell us something good that's in urine? Because a lot of people might not know what's in urine.
Do people want to know what's good in urine?
Yes.
Does anybody think this is like a less than excellent topic? No? All right, that's amazing. I think we've really got some educated people here. Okay, what's good in urine? What's good in your blood? Unbelievable amount. You're not getting enough minerals, but you would if you drank your own urine. How could that be? Because of biological transmutation. Biological transmutation. Lots of sulfur and lots of phosphorus. You need sulfur and phosphorus in organic forms, and there's a nice amount in urine.
I thought urine is a byproduct of eating. If you're not eating, how do you make urine?
Oh, good question. If you don't bring anything in, eventually you have no body excretions. You have to bring something in, and then you'll notice that 20 minutes later you need to pee.
Yeah,
generally,
I thought you don't eat or drink.
right. So if I drink something, then I will pee. Yes. If I drink something, but I don't drink for nutrition, and I don't drink to hydrate myself. No.
So what do you
But
drink?
occasionally I will drink and to get a lot of urine, and then I will drink all of that urine as much as I can to flush, to actually move things, to get bile to flow a little bit, because otherwise that all ceases. Some people can be drinking and getting drier and drier and drier. So drinking may not hydrate your body, but drinking pee will, because that has hydrotropic elements in it that will bind moisture to the protein of yourself. If you want to, if you want to have good skin, you know, snapback skin, you pull your skin out, and it's like got that very elastic, you know, skin, snapback ability. Then urine is one of the major forces that can help give you that snapback ability of the skin. No matter where somebody is, it is so youthful, youthful and youthful.
For those who aren't so brave,
Okay.
what do you do to hydrate?
What can you do? We can bring in silica, an aqueous extract of organic silica. We can clear away the bile stones so that actually I can have more albumin, which is a super transporter, which we talked a little bit about in the very beginning.
And did you say
I can, yes,
certain manufacturers?
Flora is a company that makes that.
Any, is there?
No, that's one of the best ones. What are some other things that we can do to remain hydrated? We can halt all unintelligent action, which unintelligent action is having brought food in which was cooked or dead. Cooked or dead food is not miscible with water. Once it's cooked, it's no longer miscible with water. What's that mean? Huh?
I don't know.
Come on, what's that mean? Someone have a guess, quick. It's not miscible with water. It doesn't mix. It won't mix with water. So once it's cooked, it cannot mix with water. Everything you bring in your body has to mix with water.
If you make millet or quinoa, you have to cook it.
No, absolutely. If you had millet or quinoa, you can sprout it, you can soak it, and it may not be sprouted. You can low temperature cook that, but we recommend generally that you learn how to sprout and you soak and do things like this.
Just eating fruit.
Just eating fruit may not hydrate me, not necessarily, because it could end up as excess sugar. I may have eaten a lot of starch, I might have a lot of debris, and then if I eat fruit, that sugar sort of affects, it's a fuel that the yeast uses to grow.
So it would have to be vegetable.
We start with green leaf. Green makes clean. We have 5 minutes. That could hardly, isn't that incredible that time has slipped by so fast? That's unbelievable. I feel like I've only just got started. Yogi tea, wonderful, marvellous, marvellous. Green tea, because it's not fermented. That's wonderful. Right, that's still got a lot of properties in it that black tea really doesn't have quite the same way. But the whole thing ferments as you can, somewhat, but some ferments okay. Miso. Miso can be okay, but miso for someone might be in a place where they can't do any miso. But they might not be able to do soy miso, but they can do maybe chickpea miso. And a miso maybe, but chickpeas generally no, because that's excitotoxic, especially if it's cooked. But even if it's not cooked, it's starchy and it's a bit not quite right. So be mindful, be modest with starch.
What do you do for proteins? You can't eat tofu.
Okay, I've stayed away from all protein. And the reason why I've purposely stayed away from all protein because people have been brainwashed by the meat and the egg and the dairy board. So any person in their 50s, probably the last nearly 50 years actually, they've been educating people intensely, brainwashing everybody. Where you get your protein? You know, that's so Americans especially, most everybody in America, they say, where are you getting your protein? Right, the meat and the dairy board educated those kids, but we don't really need that at all, especially those types of protein. Every single thing you bring into your body has an enormous amount of protein, more protein than you need. There is no such thing as an essential amino acid. That's just faulty research. There is no such thing as an essential fatty acid either. That's just faulty research. These things are produced inside the intestinal tract by intestinal flora in health, in good health. These things are produced.
You look very healthy. Do you tell your age?
Yes, for the most part I am a little bit less than a year old.
No, on your birth certificate.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I don't do counting, that's the only thing. But I can tell you how old I am, but I don't do counting. But you would be surprised. In my mind, I feel if you're under 50, then you are just still a whippersnapper, actually. And then life really only starts to get going when you get into 60s. Yeah, because then somebody has their life experience and this sort of thing. Absolutely. If you're under 50, in my mind, I feel you're just a young whippersnapper, actually. You know, really. And I'll bet you most people that are under 50, they still feel a whippersnapper, actually, you know. I don't know if it ever stops it. You finally are not a whippersnapper. Did you have something? Oh.
How do you lower the excess amount of water in the intestinal tract?
Okay, by improving the fire force, by improving the bile flow, will clear away the water. Progesterone over the thyroid can be helpful. If you're waking up and you always feel a tiny bit cool, it can be because salt's in your thyroid and you need to pull salt out of the thyroid. Bring a little progesterone over the thyroid. There's only one that I know of. I've been touching the mic.
Progesterone cream?
And now I would recommend a progesterone that we have, which is a natural progesterone, which is done without solvents. It's in a natural base of vitamin E. It comes from wild yam, and that's probably one of the very best on the market. Now, I'm very people loyal. I'm not product loyal at all. I'm very people loyal. If I find something that's better for us, then I'm going with this. If I find that it's better for us qualitatively or pocket-wise, then I'm going with this.
Do you sell it at your booth?
Yes. No, I'm not sure what progesterone's at the booth, but you can call that number, 212-505-5504, and you can get hold of that. For men, that can be absolutely outrageous, can raise your basal metabolic rate, the same. Both men and women, there's no such thing as a female hormone, and there's no such thing as a male hormone either. That's just faulty research as well. Okay.
What do you feel about those precursors, the growth hormone?
Oh yeah, secretagogues and things, and precursor materials to make up human growth hormone. That can be helpful. We can raise a person's human growth hormone by doing a few small things, but that's something that I do so well with. I can help people raise their human growth hormone levels, and that's what we do. I can help people raise their albumin levels and the human growth hormone levels. Both those are indexes of intelligence and long life. Most physicians you would communicate with have no idea about how to do that. They don't.
The earth people drink their own urine?
Say it again?
Do the earth people drink their own urine?
Yes, they do. That's a good question. What's your name?
Jerry.
Jerry. That's a great question, Jerry. Urine is still to this very day the most used medicine on the earth. Urea, is the very first chemical to be studied in organic chemistry. That was the beginning of organic chemistry. We've got some organic chemists here. That's the most studied organic chemical still to this day. It is one of the most studied and most useful chemicals that we have in our body is urea. My teacher, Cloud, we have to stop. My teacher, Cloud, a creek, that was one of the most common things that they did was urine therapy. Everywhere you go where the people are close to the earth, they do use urine therapy. My mother's tradition, she was born in Nepal. I would have been just given a little brown robe. They would have shaved my eyebrows and my head. I would have had just a tiny little bowl of something for the day, and they would keep my urine stale in a cold place for external application, and they would only have given me my fresh urine as a medicine in my mother's tradition, and that's very ancient. Some of the most ancient traditions, urine therapy is one of the major ways.
Aborigines?
Aboriginals, yes. Aboriginals from Australian Aboriginal to South American Aboriginals use urine therapy. That is still to this day one of the most used medicines on the face of the earth. If you want to learn more about this, pick up a life food recipe book, which is some information, or a colloidal biology book, which we have on the table. We have some absolutely incredible tapes. I've done 7 lectures since I've been, now I've done 8, but I've done 7 lectures since I've been back in the United States. They are on tape, and they are absolutely incredible lectures, all about various topics. Spontaneous remission is one of the topics. Colloidal biology, which is a brand new insight into how cells form, how DNA is formed, how life arose on the earth, and things like this. Very, very incredible information.
So we can pick it up downstairs?
Yes, you can. I am sorry. One thing I just want to say, because we're just about to leave. Look, I want to thank you. I don't know what happened. How could it be that you arrived here? But I just want to say this. This is the most amazing family of people in this room. You are our most immediate family here. If we look outside, we're such an enormous family out there that does not have this insight. Now, you've heard some things. You may be the very first people in New York City, in this area, to actually have some of this insight. This is sort of, some of this is sort of new insight in a way. So I say to you, hey, leave good tracks where you go. Leave good tracks behind. I think it's 402, is it? 407, booth 407. Anyway, thank you.